All right. Hey, what's going on? This is the second episode of my doubleheader of the of the reporter vlog for January 19th, 2024 on a Friday morning. Uh, on a Friday morning. Gotta get my story back. There we go. Uh, with the second story on this morning. Police celebrity super shelf. Celebrity super shelf. Threw his whole career away over his estranged wife. Got upset when he found a man with a strange wife strangled her. Wow. Wow. This has some local flavor, this story does. But man, it's crazy. Uh, Celebrity super chef and former Louisville restaurant owner Darnell Ferguson broke into the home of the mother of three of his children, got upset when he found a man in her bed and strangled her. A, St. Matthews police officer testified Thursday in a hearing to determine. Oh, before we go on, this brought to you by the story is brought to you by WRB, and another shout out to my friend for uh, shooting me the story. Well, donating the story to the reporter. Let's move on. When you found a man in her bed and strangled her, a St. Matthews police officer testified Thursday in a hearing to determine if there is enough evidence for a criminal case against Ferguson to continue. Matthews detective Mark Richardson testified police have pictures of the woman's injuries, blood on her clothing, in her statements, a hole punched into the wall, and some statements from the man initially in the home. Attorney for Ferguson's Kirsten Tibbs had argued that Ferguson's arraignment last week that the victim had recanted her allegations of strangulation and did not want to cooperate with the investigators. But in his testimony for Jefferson District Court Judge Stephanie Burke, Richardson said the alleged victim had been cooperative and had already given a statement saying that not only did Ferguson strangle her to unconsciousness, but later called and said if she told anyone what happened, he would kill himself. Whew. And she said, man, she believed. And she said a man she believes was Ferguson later came back to the apartment dressed as in a hoodie and a ski mask. Police found Ferguson's vehicle in the area around this time. Burke ruled there was enough evidence to send the felony charges to burglary and strangulation to a grand jury next month. Ferguson has pleaded not guilty. Ferguson has pleaded not guilty and was released on a $10,000 bond and was present by Zoom for the hearing, but did not speak. He is also charged with assault, terroristic threatening, criminal mischief, theft, and menacing. Richard said Ferguson tried to call the woman a few times that night because he needed to drop the kids off because of a family emergency. When she didn't answer, Ferguson went over to her home January 2nd. Richardson said that there was no sign of forced entry, but a window was open. I don't know if he was going to the home to commit crimes. However, he did commit crimes. Richardson testified. The woman who is not being named by WJRB News because she is an alleged victim of sexual assault. Woke up with Ferguson in her room. Another man in the room got up and left without any altercation, Richardson testified. He didn't have any arguments or issues with him, Richardson said. Arguing, however, he believed Rick Ferguson got upset and he found the man in the home. When the woman couldn't find a key Ferguson needed for another vehicle, he punched a hole in the closet door. The officer testified. Two argued, and Ferguson put both of his hands around her throat and started to strangle her, saying, he said, "I'm going to kill you." Richardson said Ferguson also ripped her shorts off and said she was his and no one else's. Wow. Wow. The officer testified that Ferguson calmed down and told the woman that he was sorry that she needed to get herself together as he was going to drop the children off. Before he left, Richard said Ferguson took the woman's identification and credit card. Asked about the credit card, Richardson said that he has not been found, but was used for the first time recently. Though police were not yet sure by whom. After the alleged attack, the woman was taken to the courthouse to take out an emergency protective order against Ferguson, and then the hospital. Last week, Tibbs told the judge that the alleged victim and her attorney were in agreement with lowering the bond in part because they share 3 children and Ferguson is needed to help take care of them. She was on Zoom during the arraignment. Her attorney has declined to comment. In addition, Tibbs told the judge that the alleged victim had recanted the altercation that he had strangled her. Tibbs later told a WRB reporter that the woman doesn't want to proceed with the criminal prosecution of Ferguson. He thinks that they would work everything out and wants to drop the charges, Tibbs said in an interview. Richardson said the alleged victim is cooperating with prosecutors and he had just spoken to her on Wednesday. Tibbs argued that there is no proof Ferguson broke into the home or that the woman was strangled, arguing that the injuries appeared to be at most fourth-degree domestic assault, a misdemeanor. The judge decided that it was not enough evidence for the grand jury to decide. Ferguson is known nationally for various TV shows, including as a host on the Food Network Super Chef Grudge Match. He also competed on several of the network's other shows, including Tournament of Champions. At one time, he owned several restaurants in Louisville, including Super Chefs, which closed in July 2022. He also given back through his nonprofit and other charities. If you know someone who has been impacted by domestic violence, there is multiple 24-hour hotlines that you can call. Man, foolish. This is not a surprising story because a lot of ladies go through this on a daily, unfortunately. But man, this dude is foolish. He breaks into the house and sees the lady has moved on. What do you expect? You expect her to be waiting for you? She's estranged for a reason. If everything was okay, she would be with you. But man, he threw it all away instead of moving on. This is why it's a perfect example of the importance of moving on. Moving on. Do what you need to do. Take care of the kids, but you gotta move on. I don't care if it's he or she or whoever it may be. You gotta move on. But you got dudes out there like that. Because they see a dude on their turf, so to speak, their manhood get irritated. And this is a perfect example of that. That's why he wouldn't, he didn't, like they said, he might, according to this story, they said he jacked her up, told her your mind and nobody else's. Yeah, right here. Two argued, and Ferguson put both of his hands around her throat, started to strangle her, saying that he said, "I'm going to kill you." Richardson said Ferguson also ripped her shorts off and said she was his and no one else's. Like I said, you gotta learn how to move on. That's what we all gotta learn. Because these are the results. These are the results. Do it all the way. Do it all the way. For what? Because she moved on and found somebody else. This dude had it rolling too. A celebrity super shelf. I put the emphasis on celebrity. He was in the Hollywood light. He was well known. But one act, do it all the way. Do one act of insecurity. Yep, had it rolling. I'm trying to find what he did. It should be at the end of this story. Yeah, it should be the end of this story. Yep, here we go. Ferguson is known nationally for various TV shows, including as a host of the Food Network's Super Chef Grudge Match. He also competed on several of the new network's other shows, including Tournament of Champions. But all because he found one guy uh, in the with his estranged wife, he threw it all away. And nobody know how he can forget about being in the spotlight now because nobody gonna take the risk of putting a guy like this uh, on their network because the networks in big time companies and as you say universities who employ famous basketball uh, coaches are not going to ruin. They're going to pick their reputation before they pick who they have fired. They're not going to take the risk on embarrassing themselves by giving a guy another chance. But this is a crazy one. Had it rolling, but just because he's seen a guy in the bed where he used to be, he do it all the way in one act, in one decision, do it all the way. A super shelf, a celebrity super shelf. Wow. But like I said, this is a perfect example of what happens. We don't let go. We don't let go. Don't let go. Let it go. Let him go. Ain't nothing worth it. Worth all this drama. Worth all this he said, she said nonsense. And she's crazy herself. Yeah, that's the crazy thing about it. I think she said she's gonna drop the charges, but that's just a rumor to this story. Man, sometimes you gotta think about yourself. Sometimes, because man, I know kids are important. I know you gotta have the father take care of them, but man, so some things have a limit. Some things have a limit. despite the facts. In other words, despite the kids. It's not a good thing. Domestic violence is not a good thing. I don't care if it's a dude or if it's a boyfriend, husband, whoever it may be. Domestic violence is not a good thing. Sometimes you can't do everything. You can't show mercy just because of the kids. Sometimes you got press charges. In other words, you got press charges. But that's all I got for this one. Let me get on off here. This is another episode of the Reporter Vlog for January 19th, 2024. Y'all have a good one. I am gone. On a Friday morning. I'm gone. I'm guessing these are supposed to be mountains, but you can't really tell. It just doesn't look finished to me. Orton is absolutely right. In fact, Da Vinci never finished the Mona Lisa. What's even his favorite painting? Take note, people. Orton is not afraid to challenge conventional wisdom.